Hey everyone, welcome to Beach Investing. I'm your host, Andrei Angelkovski. We're here in the prime beaches. I'm not sure if you recognize the house behind me. It's changed its front facade, but it's part of Jeff Reid's house. Jeff, come on over here. How are you, man?
Great.
Nice to see you again. You've done some great changes so far, and what I wanted to show our viewers today, what we'll be talking about is managing neighbors while you're doing such a large renovation such as what Jeff's doing. So Jeff, can you start us off and tell us some of the initial challenges so you can show us outside before we go inside, some of the challenges you're facing with neighbors and with such a large renovation?
Sure. I don't know if you want to follow me over
here.
here.
Yeah, let's go.
Sure. Here, I've got 6 inches away from the lot line here. Okay. So I'm building a $200,000 renovation. It's going to take 6 months, and I'm basically building it right at my neighbor's house. Okay, she's 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. She listens to construction, and she's had enough. And it's hard on her, and it's hard on the guys. Everybody's stressed out. We've been doing it for 4 months, and it's really, really tough to be building in the beaches here when the houses are so tight together. You can see on the other side over here, I'm about 1.5 feet from the lot line. So very, very close. You can hear the noise upstairs, and it's really hard on everybody's nerves.
Okay, so now that we've seen that issue of you being really close to your neighbors, you know, on both sides. I can see that being, you know, a nuisance to both sides, including yourself, of hearing it almost every day, right? So
yeah. It's, you know, we can't build a house without making noise. I can understand where they're coming from, and all we can do is try our best to do it as quickly as possible. The unfortunate thing is I'm also interested in one of the houses up the road. And this house, apparently, this street actually has been under construction for 4 years with contractors. A bit of a sign of the time here in the beaches. The neighbors have all had enough. Every time one contractor finishes a house, another house just sold up the road, and it had 3 contractors bidding on a bungalow, and it sold way over asking. And they wanted, all 3 contractors are interested in topping up that house and putting a second floor. So it's been really, really tough on my guys. Like I said, everybody's nerves are shot, and as soon as we finish this project in the next couple of months, we're going to be on to another one, and more than likely it'll be the same thing where we're building right beside the neighbors. We don't have any clients anymore, but we do manage relationships because the neighbors, you know, there's a lot of difficulty. So we have a couple of tricks that we use. One thing is that we make sure every time we're working outside that we throw down tarps, and quickly, if they have to park, if the neighbors have to park their car in the driveway, we can lift the tarps and we don't have to be worried about any nails on their driveways. Sometimes we put money in escrow, so that if we do damage their roof, if we have to stand on it for a little while, or if we do damage their driveway, if we have to drive on it for a little while, then they are in the power position and they have money of ours at their lawyers, so that they allow us to temporarily utilize their space.
So when you do a big renovation, I guess, or even for flippers out there, you think about the biggest challenges you have is, you know, coming up with the money, managing contractors, but we forget about managing neighbors, because they can make your life in the next 4 to 6 months a living hell.
Yeah, we've had problems. One of the last projects that we built, there was a fence, and the neighbor was actually schizophrenic, and he said that we could build the fence and put a new fence right in the old line of the existing fence, and 20 minutes later he came back and he was a different person, and he was yelling and screaming and couldn't believe that we were building the fence there. So building for 6 months beside someone who's schizophrenic, I don't recommend it. I mean, I lost so many hours of sleep because of this guy, and I don't even have clients. To the north here, On this particular project, we've got someone who's an older gentleman, and you know, he's really struggled with getting sleep with his window about 18 inches away from our construction project. That's his bedroom window, and I feel for him. If I was in his position, I would do the same. But we've covered his window and his air conditioner with plywood boxes and taken the time, and I'm pretty proud to say, I mean, we've almost shed a couple of boxing matches we've almost had, when we've almost shed a couple of tears. We've actually had a lot of dramas. I've held back everything I possibly could in order to not paste on Facebook and various things about struggles that I've had. But you know, we're making it through. It is a big stress of doing these major renovations, particularly in the beaches where it's the neighbors are virtually right beside you. So
yeah, the beaches. The people have lived here for some people 50 plus years, and they are resistant to change. So for you asking for a change to put up a third story here or whatever you're going for, people are struggling to accept that change. So you're dealing with that kind of stuff too.
yeah, we're in a boom. We're in a construction boom right now. I think that in 20 years' time, we're going to look back and realize how much of this city has changed in and around these 5 years. And particularly in the beaches, people are very resistant to any modern, new, contemporary, distillery-style houses, whatever you want to call it. They're resistant to changing from their old traditional homes. But as generations come and go, these houses are old. A lot of these houses, this one was built in the 1890s. A lot of the houses were post-war in this area, and it's time that they get updated. And it's time that the style is more current.
Right. But I do notice that what you've mentioned to me before, I've seen this too, is that your reputation as a builder, a custom home builder, is changing. A lot of neighbors, a lot of people have this sort of idea, myth about builders sort of doing harm for neighbors. But as neighbors start to get to know you and your building tactics and your strategies, is you stick to your word and you try to compromise with all neighbors. And we'll talk about that another time.
Sure.
But thanks for opening up and telling us how you really feel about the challenges of working with neighbors, and you know, it's a struggle, but at the same time, you try to make things work, and that's good for you.
Thanks, Sonny.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, guys.